Syria was on everybody's lips when EU leaders met in Brussels for the last meeting of the year. With innocent civilians attacked and many trapped in the ruins of Aleppo, EU leaders condemned the actions by the Syrian regime and its allies, notably Russia.
On ne peut pas laisser des femmes, des hommes, des enfants être soumis à des bombardements, enrôlés de force, menacés pour leur sécurité et traités de manière aussi indigne. Il y a un moment où il faut répondre de ces actes.
Sweden called for sanctions against Russia linked to the escalation of the Syrian war. However, other member states didn't want to go in that direction. And after the meeting, EU Council President Donald Tusk admitted that they were not as effective as they would like to be. To the latest attacks in Syria, EU leaders could only respond with words.
Wir müssen als diplomatische Aktivitäten, da haben wir viel, Syria verstärken und diplomatische Aktivitäten, die Syrien betreffen, fallen nicht nur in Syria statt, müssen wir als internationale Partner als ganz eng aufschwärzen und den Druck mehr groß.
But the people of Aleppo need more than sympathy. The mayor of Eastern Aleppo, who was invited to the meeting, said, "What we are waiting for is acts rather than words. History will not forgive." At the same time, civil society groups call on Europe to take greater responsibility for those fleeing the war in Syria. Many are stuck in Turkey after the agreement the EU has made with the country. At the meeting, EU leaders reiterated that the EU-Turkey deal is working. Iverna McGowan at Amnesty International disagrees.
Is working when the history books see when Syria is in the face of such horrendous crimes that the one thing the EU leaders had to say was to close the door for Syrian people? It really does depend on what the definition of working is.
Amnesty International urgently demands that the EU stop sending Syrian refugees back to Turkey. Iverna McGowan also points at the appalling conditions for migrants, Syrians and others in Greece. She thinks the recent Commission decision to start sending migrants back to Greece from other EU countries as from March next year is deeply hypocritical.
Anyone familiar with the situation on the ground, the subhuman conditions, the lack of speedy processes, etc., would be frankly ludicrous to consider sending people back into this situation.
When it comes to the question on who should take responsibility for the migrants that make it to Europe, member states still don't agree. The aim is to find some kind of agreement within the next 6 months.